Hello there, you're watching Dansky, the place to be to develop your creative skills and grow as a designer. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to draw a mountain logo in Adobe Illustrator. So to start with, I've created a new artboard 1920 by 1080, and I'm going to select the polygon tool, left click anywhere on the artboard and select 3 as the number of sides and click OK. And then scale up this triangle that it's created by holding Shift and dragging from one of the corners. And then using the direct selection tool, just click anywhere along the bottom of the triangle and then hit delete or backspace and it will remove the bottom part of the triangle. Next I'm going to left click on the triangle or what's left of it and hold Alt and Shift and drag out to create a copy, and then go to View, down to Smart Guides and make sure that they are switched on, and then zoom in nice and close on this central point and hold Shift and drag this right triangle so that it touches the left. So you can see those smart guides there are really helpful in lining these two shapes together. And if you go into outline mode, that's Command or Control Y, you can see by zooming in really close that these shapes do in fact touch. Next, select either of these triangles and hold Alt and drag to create a copy. So you can see those smart guides again, very helpful in lining this shape up to the center. This third triangle needs to be exactly in between the other two triangles, and we can scale it down towards the center by holding Alt and Shift and scaling from the corners. Again, just make sure that this third triangle also touches the other two triangles. So we can just move that up. So we've created our 3 triangles. We can now come out of outline mode, that's Command or Control Y. And if we drag over everything, we can go to the stroke panel and just give this a stroke weight. So let's go for 50 for now. And what we're going to do is use the direct selection tool and drag over these 2 end anchor points here. Remember, these 2 shapes are still separate shapes. And using the direct selection tool, if we drag over both of those end anchor points and go to Object, Path and select Join, it will now join these together. So this M shape is all now one shape, and we can drag it round as one object with the main selection tool. Next, if we select the ellipse tool, left click and hold Shift to draw a circle, it will very kindly remember the same stroke weight of 50 points, and we can just select here to remove that fill. So if we select our triangles, our mountains, we can just hold Shift and scale that down. Now at the moment the top part of the mountain and the bottom part are separate, so if we hold Shift and just left click on both parts, we can go to Object and Group and now move these around as one object. In fact, we can select the circle and the mountains by dragging over all of them and change this option at the top to Align to Selection, and then align this both horizontally and vertically so it sits in the center. What we can then do is drag over everything and go to Object, Group, so now that the circle and the mountains are all grouped together. And we can change this at the top to, instead of Align to Selection, we can change this to Align to Artboard and select the same horizontal align and vertical align options, and it will position the logo exactly in the center of the artboard. Now what you can do here is select everything, and all these stroke weights are still editable, so you can adjust the stroke weight from the stroke panel. Or what you can do is, as you scale this down or up, it will still remember that stroke weight, so it will give you a slightly different look. What you can also do is, with the main selection tool or the direct selection tool, just select the sharp mountain elements within this logo and change the corner to round join. This will round off the corner slightly, so it depends whether you want softer rounded corners or hard, sharp, spiky edges. For this tutorial, I'm going to keep the hard, sharp, spiky edges just because I think they're a bit more reminiscent of mountains. So when you've got a logo with a weight for the stroke that you're happy with, everything's looking great. Personally, I like to drag holding Alt and Shift and keep an editable copy over here. so I can still adjust the stroke weight if I want to. But coming back to the main version here, I'm now going to select everything, go to Object, Expand, leave Fill and Stroke selected, and you'll see now that this is no longer easily editable in terms of the stroke width. So instead I'm left with a fill, which is a question mark, and we've got lots of different shapes that make this up. So we've got the top part of the mountain, we've got the M part all as one shape, and we have the circle. However, with everything selected, we just need to go to the Pathfinder panel on the right and select the top left option, Unite. So there we go, we've got a problem, it's merged all of these different pieces together. So that's fine, this sometimes happens. All we need to do is go to Object, Ungroup, and we'll ungroup our shapes, and we'll go and find out what the problem is. So if we switch into outline mode, that's Command or Control Y, we can see that we have these lines running down the center. So they shouldn't really be there. So if we select the direct selection tool, we can click on these lines that run down the center, and with them selected, hit delete or backspace and remove them from both the bottom and top shapes within the mountains. So now it's going to be a case of just trial and error to try and merge this all together. So I think we'll start by merging the bottom part of the mountains with the top part. So at the moment, this is all grouped together. So again, we'll go to Object and Ungroup, and we'll just ungroup all of these pieces together, and then we'll hold Shift to select them both, and we'll unite them and piece them back together by selecting the top left option in the Pathfinder panel. Okay, so there we go. We've united those two shapes into one, and we've not had any issues. So it looks like removing those lines down the middle were the issue. So now that that's fixed, we can select the circle and select the mountain part of our logo. And then again in the Pathfinder panel, select Unite, and it all merges together without any problems. And we can see in outline mode that everything looks great, and this is all now one shape. So we've got our finished logo. We can now adjust the size of this holding Shift, and it will scale up and down proportionally without the width of the strokes changing. All that's left now is to give this a fill color. So let's double click a swatch, select Preview and Global, and just find a color that works. And when you're happy with your color, click OK. And again, we're going to select the rectangle tool, and we'll just drag to create a rectangle that is equal to the width and height of the artboard. And then go to Object, Arrange, Center Back. And then we'll just change the color of this. So we could select a dark green, something to really help the color of the logo stand out. So we could select something like this, or alternatively, we could select a nice light gray. So it entirely depends on what you're going for with your logo. And there we go, that's how to draw a mountain logo in Adobe Illustrator. As always guys, please feel free to leave any questions or comments below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, take care, and I'll see you next time.